Hi, it's Viv again. Thanks for joining me. I want to talk to you today about moving away from and towards what you want. And I remember when I first moved to Brighton, England. That's on the south coast of England, about 60 miles from London. That's where I live now, where I'm coming to you from now. When I first moved here, I just left my career as a journalist and I was really unhappy. I was tired, worn out, stressed. I was a skinny guy but overweight, and I started making some changes in my life. Some really positive changes. I started going running, and I changed to becoming a vegetarian, which worked for me. And I started making my own food and making all these good changes. And one of the first things I wanted to do was just not have this belly anymore. You know, skinny guy with a belly on the beach in summer, it's not a good look. And so I started going to the gym and running a lot and eating good food, salads every day, you know. And I noticed that I started to lose weight. But no matter how hard I tried over the next 2 years, I was still always left with this bit of a paunch, you know, this tiny belly that was left that I really didn't want. And I couldn't work out how to get rid of it. It didn't seem to matter how much I ate or how much I was running. I would just go in cycles between being almost at the weight I wanted and then swinging back and putting on weight as I maybe ate some junk food or gave up exercise. And it wasn't until I realized that I wasn't focused on what I did want rather than what I didn't that it became clear to me. Because all this time I was just saying I didn't want to have this belly, but I had no picture, no concept of what I did want to look like. I had no goal. I didn't have a picture in my mind of the body I wanted, or what I could do with the extra energy, or how I would look on the beach, or maybe wanted to compete running a half marathon. I had none of those things. All I knew was that I didn't want to have this belly. So I would lose weight until the belly was no longer a problem. And then when it was no longer a huge problem again, I would let go of all the running, the exercise, the good food, and start falling back into behaviours that weren't very useful for me. And then I would notice again that I was putting on weight, and so then I would go back to, the good food and running in the gym. And I would run through this cycle time and time again, putting on weight, taking off weight. And then I realised that perhaps I should focus on what I do want. So I started setting myself goals, small achievable goals. So I said to myself, maybe I'll sign up for that 10k run, a 6-mile run. And I had a couple of months to train, so I signed up for that. And then I said, right, I'm going to work towards training for a half marathon. And I signed up for that too. And as I made these goals and had increasingly more complex goals, I noticed that because I was working towards something and consistently thinking about it, I was just naturally moving towards what I wanted, and so my behaviour started to change. So that's what I like to think about today. If you're not as happy as you'd like, or you're lacking in confidence, most of my clients who come and see me for these issues tend to frame things in the negative of what they don't want. They say, I don't want to be unhappy. I don't want to lack confidence. I don't want to be sad or depressed or feel worthless. All these things that they don't want. And when you say to them, okay, what do you want instead? Quite a large number of my clients find themselves stumped for a moment. So that's my question to you. What do you want? In the context of happiness, life, the frame of your life, What do you really want? So after this video, I'd like you to write down what you want. Start making a list and start thinking about how you can get them. And I'll give you another tip, because sometimes when you're not used to thinking this way and you say, I want this, it can seem like a mountain to climb. Whereas in fact, you don't need to think of the whole mountain, just about that first step. I don't know if you've ever come across an idea from chaos theory about the butterfly that flaps its wings in Brazil, and through the minor fluctuations of air and the compression of the air, that small change that happens can slowly increase and start to make big changes in the air that become huge changes in weather patterns. And that mathematicians who work on chaos theory have determined that the movement of a butterfly's wings in Brazil, in theory, could create a hurricane in Texas. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, but the potential is there for small steps to create big change. I wonder if there's ever been a time in your life when you've made the smallest change to a relationship, an idea, a thought you've had, and you've taken something from being a bad feeling, imagined what you could do instead, just the smallest thing, and created a whole new future from a small idea. And I wonder if you can do that now. So here's your task for today. After you make your list of what you do want rather than what you don't want, so no nots in there at all, only what you do want. And then I want you to think about what's the first small step you can make that's like the flapping of a butterfly's wings. So that if you made that change today, that could have a significant impact in your life. So I want you to think about that and write that down. And just keep that somewhere close that you can check in on. And here's the key. So come a little bit closer. I just want to give you this one nugget. The important thing in doing this is that you actually take that first step. Like the butterfly that flaps its wings that creates a big change in the world, you too can take that first small step today and start changing your life. You don't even need to believe in it, as long as you do that first step now. See you soon. Hi, it's Viv again. Thanks for joining me. I want to talk to you today about moving